Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. I know there's always a million things going on, so we're very appreciative that you were able to come in and listen to us tonight. The presentation is going to be available online, so if you know other parents that couldn't make it tonight, it will be uploaded so that they can watch it. I hope everybody has a copy of the handout. And basically, we're just going to walk you through the slides. We're going to go over all the important stuff that the juniors need this year so that they're prepared to move on to senior year and then prepared to move on to post-high school life. So, without further ado. So your children need 22 credits to graduate. I know you hear this from us every year, but they do. They need a certain amount of credits. It's highlighted here on this slide, but basically we are tracking your children all throughout the year. We are making sure that they have the classes that they need for graduation. So all their core classes, English, social studies, math, science, language, in addition to their art credit, their health credit, their gym credits, all those things we are focused on, and we are making sure that your child has that so that they're prepared for graduation for them next year. So if there's ever anything in question, if we're ever concerned about anything, you'll of course hear from us. Your child will sit with us and we'll go through everything. But we are tracking your children to make sure they have everything they need for graduation. And most students have above what they need when they leave here. So they're in good hands. I don't want to stand like right in front. In addition to the classes that they need for graduation, they also need a certain amount of Regents exams. So depending on if they're getting a regular Regents Diploma or a Regents with Advanced Designation, they need a certain amount of Regents exams in order to get that diploma type. So on this slide, it basically outlines the difference between the Regents exams and the Advanced Designation exams and what they need. So I know the course of the last couple of years, we had the exemptions that went in for a lot of their Regents exams. The exemptions do count as passing grades, so your child will get credit for those towards graduation. And if you guys have questions about that or concerns, always feel free to contact us and we'll go through your child individually with you. The 4+1 pathway. There's been a lot of talk about this in the last couple of years. So there's a couple of different ways to get your child to graduate from high school. So the 4+1 pathways is simply saying that in addition to 4 Regents exams, there's also another pathway that they can get in order to graduate. So the slide before talks about the Regents exams that they need, but in case they can't get one of those Regents exams, there's other pathways that they can use. Again, this isn't something that is like coming out of left field. If your child is in this boat, if we're looking at using one of these for graduation, we will have a conversation, we will sit down, and we will speak with you so that you know where your child is at any time. Yes. Advanced designation diplomas. So Regents with advanced designation diplomas, you can get certain things in addition to just your regular diploma. One of those things you may have heard of is mastery. So your child can get mastery in either math or science or both. And depending on the Regents exams that they take, they can get an extra seal on their diploma. So if your child is going for an advanced Regents or a Regents with advanced designation diploma, and they score 85 or higher on 3 math exams, they can get the math designation. If they score higher on 3 or more science exams, they can get the mastery in science. And if they do them both, they will get both seals on their diploma. Again, the exemptions that we've used in the last couple of years will give them that 85 or higher credit. We're assuming that they would have passed with an 85 or higher. So if your child has only taken one of the 3 exams, because that's possible, so for like math, they might have taken the algebra exam, got exemption for the geometry, and got exemption for the algebra 2. As long as they pass that first algebra with an 85 or higher, they will get that designation in math. If your child got, say, like an 84, and you want them to try and take that exam again, you would need to contact us and let us know, and we will register them to resit for that exam to try and get above that 85 so that they can get that seal on their diploma. So if you're unsure where your child's at, there is always a copy of their transcript in the backpack. So if you go on the parent portal, in the backpack, there's always a copy of your child's updated transcript. On that, it has all their courses that they finished. So it would have 9th and 10th grade and anything on a high school level from 8th grade, and it will have all their Regents exams listed. So if you want to check that out, you can always look at it. If you have questions about it, always feel free to call us and we can go through anything with you.
That's an Infinite Campus?
In Infinite Campus, yep. There's like a little tab that says backpack. Official transcript. Oh, I just said that. So the official transcript, again, is found in the backpack. The official transcript for your child consists of anything in 8th grade on high school level, 9th, 10th grade. And then at the end of this year, their 11th grade classes will go on this transcript, and that is the transcript they are sending off to college next year. So that's why you always hear 11th grade is so important, it's such an important year. Well, that's why, because it's the last year that really is that finalizing that number on their transcript. And it's not to say that senior year doesn't count, because it absolutely does. The colleges look to see what classes they're in, look to see what grades they're getting, but for the transcript, 11th grade, at the end of 11th grade, what numbers are there, that basically sums up their transcript that is going off to the colleges next year. In senior year, I just touched on this a little bit, but in senior year, the colleges want to see that your child is still challenging themselves. I know every kid says 11th grade is the hardest year, let me just get through this and I'm going to take it easy in 12th grade. That's not what we want to see them do. That's not what the colleges want to see them do. Every year, schools are getting more and more competitive. So to put your child at an advantage, you want to make sure that they continue to challenge themselves in their senior year. That includes taking, they'll take their English, their social studies, but to continue on in math, to continue on in science. Most students are going to see math and science again in college, so taking a year off is not beneficial for them. If they're questioning what they should take, maybe I should take an AP class or challenge myself a little more, that's absolutely the time for them to take it. Colleges want to see that your child is challenging themselves the closer they get to coming to them. So we always tell the kids, from when they're young, don't bite off too much. You want to work your way up to those advanced classes and you want to stay on course. You don't want to burn yourself out where you take so much early that by senior year you're done. So you want to make sure your children stay on top of that in senior year. We will sit with them in the winter. We will go over and pick their schedule and their classes for next year. So we always do that one-on-one with your child, but we always invite the parents to call up. You can either come in, I don't know how we're going to do it this year with everything going on. We can always do a Google Meet, we can always do a phone call and go over their senior schedule and the choices that they're looking to make. Testing timeline. So the PSAT, your child would have had the opportunity to take it last year, but we're offering it again for them as 11th grader this year. This is really the year they should be taking it because they are going to be taking an SAT or an ACT this year, the real thing. So the PSAT, we're giving it in school on the 13th for our juniors, and then on the 26th, I want to make sure, yep, thank you, for our sophomores. If for some reason your child can't make it on the first date, the second date that we're offering it to sophomores, your child can then take it on that date if they couldn't sit on the 13th. Okay, but that is in school. Your child would come to school that day, bring some pencils, bring a calculator, and be prepared to take that PSAT. From the results of the PSAT, which we usually get back around December, your children will be able to log on and see how they did on the exam, and then they'll be able to use that to prep for the actual SAT. So that's what the PSAT is really about, seeing where their deficiencies are and seeing what they have to work on for when they actually see the real SAT. Some parents ask if they should get prepping for the PSAT. That's not necessary. It's really meant to be taken cold so that you can see what areas really need to be focused on. Okay. SAT and ACT registration. So these are where you would register for the SAT and ACT. Although we offer them in-house in this building, they are not our tests. So they are given by the College Board, they are given by ACT, and we just actually proctor them here in school. There are a set number of seats that they allow, you know, how many students they'll allow in the building. So you want to make sure you register early to get your child in a seat here in their high school. So you can go home and register now if you want to for the spring exams. It's never too early. And that way you assure that they have a seat, because we always get kids every year and they wait too long. I think it was last year, the year before, I had a student and the closest place they could go was Connecticut to take it. So especially with COVID, a lot of facilities have either stopped offering it or have cut their numbers dramatically. So you want to make sure that you register them to take the exam.
We went on over the summer and there were specific dates you could register for specific exams, like November 2nd, it was dates in October.
Right.
So that's the cutoff date. Like
Yeah.
that's the date, that's the registration deadline date. So after that date, they won't let you register, or they'll have like a late registration where you can pay an extra fee.
So we could have already registered for the November one?
Yes.
Yes.
You can now,
Yeah,
through October 8th.
yeah. So, and then you could register now up through the remainder of the year for any of the tests given this school year. Register early. That has our CEEB code on here, so you'll need that for registration. Again, if your child needs help with that, if you have questions about that, if you are a family that takes advantage of the free and reduced lunch, there are fee waivers for that, so please either call us up or have your child come to us, and we can show you we can give you the information you need to get the fee waivers for those exams. SAT and ACT preparation. So once your child gets back their PSAT results, you're going to want to have them study on the areas that they need to work on. There are different places that they can go. A lot of times the library offers something. We offer through East Suffolk High School, through their Castle Learning, there's free SAT prep that they can log on for. The makers of that preparation, method test prep, they recommend that the student goes on 4 times a week at 15 minutes a pop. So that's an hour a week for that. Your child might do better in a seated environment where there's classes, so they'll offer classes at different places. There's online tools that they can use. If you go to the guidance webpage, there's a whole bunch of information about how to get SAT and ACT prep. But make sure you find something that works for your child. I know a lot of parents that sign their child up for a class and their kids don't want to go, or they're not really into it, and they don't always get what they should out of it. So have a discussion with your child, figure out how they want to prep. There's apps. There's question of the day. I always tell all my students, SAT has a question of the day app, and literally it's an SAT question that pops up on their phone every day. It takes them about a minute and a half to do the question, but it's a little bit of prep. They're getting used to the questions that are on the exam. They're getting used to how to time themselves. So even something as simple as that, not alone, but in conjunction with other things, will help them prepare for this exam. Beyond the classroom, we tell our students, we've been telling them since they first got here as 9th graders, how important it is to get involved in extracurricular activities, clubs, outside of school, sports, get involved with your church, get involved and do things. Colleges look at this more and more. It's so competitive out there. When your child is applying to a school, most likely they're going to apply to a school that's within their range as far as their grade point average, SAT scores. What sets your child apart from all the other competition is what they've done as far as extracurricular activities, sports, any jobs that they've had. They want to know that your child isn't going home at the end of the day and doing nothing. They want to see an active child, because an active child comes to college and they're an active participant on the college campus. And colleges love that stuff. So it's never too late to get involved. I tell kids, because they're like, oh, I don't think so. It's never too late to get involved. Volunteering works well, especially because a lot of times the kids will need volunteer hours if they're going for like the honor society and stuff like that. So again, on the high school webpage, we have tons of information on different ways to get involved, as well as connections to volunteering websites and stuff like that. Very important. Okay, Suffolk Community College Early College Program. You may have heard of this through parents where messages have been sent out, but Suffolk Community College offers students to take classes through their campus, either on the weekends or at night. It's something in addition to what they can be doing here in school. It's a great way for them to get familiar with college material, to gain some college credits. So there are applications that we have that go out, notifications go out to the parents, and there is a link here. Once we upload this on the website, you'll be able to click on the link and get a lot more information. But again, it's a great way for kids to start to get some college credits and start to get used to college materials. Okay, and then I think I'm going to pass it over to Miss Kate.
Okay, how are we doing so far? Everybody okay? Yeah? Okay, it's hard because I only see the tops of your heads. So I get to talk about social media, which is, I'm sure, every parent's favorite topic. This is something that we will absolutely repeat when we talk to the kids. We do classroom visits with the juniors in December. But think before you post gets all the more important when you start applying for colleges and applying for employment. A simple Google search can bring up a whole lot of information about folks. I've worked as the NCAA liaison for our student athletes in the district for over 10 years now. When coaches come through to meet our athletes, one of the first things they say is, hey man, are you on Twitter? I'll follow you. Are you on Instagram? I'll follow you. And sometimes the kids are thrilled to give their name, and sometimes they are shocked and trying to figure out how they can scrub their whole Instagram before they give it to this coach, right? So what we really, really want to make sure that kids understand is that their digital footprint will be there long after a post gets taken down. So if they want to maybe take a look at their social media accounts and make sure that they're private, make sure that only the folks that they really know are friends of theirs on those accounts. Make sure that everything on there is something you'd be proud of if it was public. So if a college rep were to search you up on Facebook, on Instagram, if they were to find anything that you've posted, would it be something you'd be okay with them seeing? Would it be something you'd be proud of? Same thing with an employer, right? I'm sure we've all heard stories of folks whose employers have seen social media posts and people have been disciplined or even fired. So those are those things that we really want to teach the kids moving forward as not just college application skills, but life skills, to think about what you put out there with your name on it into the social media world. Right into the NCAA. Okay, so if you happen to be the parent of a student athlete, the NCAA offers two types of registrations. For an athlete who's unsure about what division they may be playing at, they actually offer a free profile that athletes can create online, and it's under eligibilitycenter.org. They would just create a profile page. If they are pretty sure that they may be looking at a Division I or Division II school, they're going to want to create a certification page. That carries currently, I believe it's a $90 fee for this year. It's most likely going to go up, so if you want to register now rather than waiting till next year, you may want to do that now. And again, that would only be required for a student who is looking to play in an NCAA Division I or II school. If a student's looking at possibly a smaller private school that participates in the NAIA, it's a different athletic conference, I can help them with that process too. I'm actually recording an NCAA student athlete workshop tomorrow, so that workshop will be posted next week. So if you have specific questions related to student athletes, a recruitment process, or anything like that, I'm happy to answer those questions for you and assist you with anything that you may need related to that. And similar to the SAT, we can issue fee waivers for NCAA certification pages, provided that the family participates in the free and reduced lunch program. Okay, college searching. So this is the question I feel like we get asked the most by juniors and junior families is, how do I start the college search? So there are over 4,000 colleges in the country right now, and obviously we're not going to research every last one of them. But there are some ways to narrow that down that may feel a little less threatening to your juniors. And the reason I say that is because if we plunk a kid down in front of a computer and say, search for colleges, they are most likely going to panic, sweat, shell shock, any of those type of reactions, right? So what we ask our kids to do, and we work with the juniors on this as well, is sit down, just kind of play around with a college search in a non-threatening way. Put in a few things. Put in, I'd like to search colleges in New York. I'd like to search colleges within 50 miles of my house. I'd like to search colleges that are in a suburban setting. All those little things will help to set parameters. And if you happen to find a college you like, there are ways to save those. We really encourage our kids to take advantage of virtual visits. In their Naviance accounts, there's a list of upcoming virtual visits. In a typical year, we would have college reps on site in person. That's not really possible right now, but we do have virtual visits, and we'll have a handful of kids sit in basically a Zoom meeting type session where they can ask a college rep questions about their school. They can meet them and then make a contact at that college. So if there's a college that you know your child is interested in, they may want to check the list to see if that college is giving a virtual visit at our school. You also can attend virtual info sessions on your own from home, and those are typically right on the admissions web pages. Most colleges are offering virtual tours and virtual visits on their own as well. We have a junior conference on the next, right? So
Not next one.
okay, so I don't want to get too far into the junior conference yet. But we will be visiting the junior classes in December to review their Naviance accounts with them, and we're going to talk a little bit about that with you folks as well, just so you know what to expect. Naviance has a great college search, and so does the College Board website. So those are both things that we ask kids to take advantage of. Okay, so in order to find Naviance, because when you get home and inevitably ask your child, where's your Naviance account? They might say, I really don't know. Everything they need is under ClassLink. ClassLink is what they use to access a lot of the apps they use in class. They'll use it to access Castle Learning, Delta Math, all kinds of things they use for their classes. Naviance is right there alongside all those apps. So that's what their ClassLink page looks like, and the Naviance app looks sort of like a compass.
Hard to see, yeah.
So this is what their home page looks like. So it'll say welcome at the top. And under this section here, if you look at the very bottom where it says what's new, that's where all those virtual visits will be. So it's right on their homepage. As soon as they sign in, their homepage will show up. Any colleges that they're interested in, they can save. So you see the little hearts that say colleges I'm thinking about, careers I'm thinking about. Those are things they can save to their account. And that way, when they meet with us or when they chat with you at home, they can say, oh, I found this college and I saved it. And it'll stay there in their account for them. This looks, I assume, kind of chaotic from the start, but I'm going to explain what it is. So this is a scattergram. A scattergram is a collection of data that basically shows prior students from our school who have applied to a particular college. So in this case, this is applications. Looks like Stony Brook, right? So these are student applications to Stony Brook. And on the bottom, there's a sliding scale of SAT scores, and along the side are GPAs. Those green checks show students that were accepted. X's show students that were denied. And then the dots in the middle are students who were waitlisted or whose status was unknown. All of this information is collected from previous classes of students from here. Who have applied. So when you hover on each little check or each little dot, it will say, for example, right here, it shows accepted, SAT 1120, GPA 85. So as you can see towards the bottom, there is a mix of X's and checks. And this is kind of a way that we visually show students that there's no hard and fast way to say, well, if you get this score, you're automatically accepted. You may notice, and it can be kind of frustrating for students, that when they ask us, do you think I'll be accepted to this school? We may say it's likely or you're in good standing, but we're never going to say absolutely definitely or absolutely definitely not, because we're not the admissions representatives. So this is a visual way to show students that while obviously you can see a whole lot of green checks toward the right there, it's a real mix in the middle. And like Mrs. Salvaggio said, there may be a difference maker there where two students with really similar profiles, one student had a really outstanding essay or a really outstanding resume, and that made that student into a check, while the student right next to them became an X. So this data is constantly collected each year, and it will show you just those data points, not student names. So when your students apply to college next year, they will become part of a scattergram for a future class.
And you can't see the little person, but he's in there.
Oh, there's a little person. Oh, yeah, there's a little person in the middle that would show me, like if I were the student. So that's the little guy.
So hard to see.
Yeah, it's hard to see. So things that we want to consider when looking for colleges. Where do we start, right? When we say there's 4,000 colleges in the country. We want to think about location. Do you want to be close to home? Are you somebody that wants to go far away? That's something that we're going to chat about with you too, because we look for a consensus. There are definitely those times. I mean, I've been doing this 18 years. Mrs. Salvaggio is a little longer than me. Yeah. And we've had those moments in our office where the student says, I want to go to school in California. And the parent says, you are absolutely not going to California, right? So we need to come to a consensus of where we want to apply. Location, distance from home, how far are we willing to travel to visit as a family, right? Selectivity. What is the college looking for in terms of GPA, SAT scores if the college is accepting those? A lot of colleges are currently test optional. We don't know if that policy will carry forward, but for the past 2 years we've seen colleges using a test optional policy, meaning we will look at an SAT or not. So what type of range are we looking at for the schools that we're wanting to see? Are we looking to apply to very, very selective schools, or are we looking to apply to schools that maybe accept more students from the sample of students they receive? Are you looking for an urban setting? Do you picture yourself in a city? Are you more of a suburban or rural kind of kid that's going to be happier where there's wide open spaces with trees? Those are kinds of things that you may find as a family as you do some visits. You know, your child may say to you, wow, I really love it here. Or they may say, oh, I thought I wanted to go to school in the city, but it turns out I really didn't like it at all after we checked it out. So that's why that research is really important. Size of population, the difference between a school like Stony Brook as opposed to a smaller school like a St. Joe's. What size school works for you and your personality and what you like. Do they have the major that you want? Many, many times we'll have students that come in love with a school, and then when they do some research, they come to find that maybe that school doesn't have the academic program they're looking for. So we have to start that search over again. Also, extracurriculars. Is there a particular interest, a talent that your child has? Are they involved in the arts? Are they wanting to be able to audition for a theater program? Do they want to play a sport? And if so, at what level? All those things can impact the search as well. And of course, the big one that we always talk about, cost. The sticker price of a college, sort of like the sticker price of a car, is not always what you're going to end up paying. But it is important to take into account what a college expects to receive as tuition and whether that's something that's going to be reasonable for your family. So the junior conference, you'll receive invitations from us as we come into December, January. We invite every family to meet with us to have an individual junior conference. So this information session is intended to be kind of general information for all juniors, but obviously each child's journey is different. So we want to be able to sit with you to really talk about what your child's plans are, what your plans are as a family, and how we can help you get there. That's really what our job is as we guide your child through their junior and senior year, is how do we help you get where it is that you want to go. So those junior conferences, last year we did them by phone and through Google Meets. We're not really sure what that's going to look like this year, whether they'll be in person or Google Meets, but we will hopefully know what we're looking at for December and January. But no matter what, we do love to have those meetings with as many juniors as possible. So we try our best to work those around your schedule and what works best for you so that we can talk to every parent and child together. Website. Okay, so Mrs. Salvaggio mentioned the website before, but we do try to post everything that we get on the guidance website. So if you go to East Islip High School and on the side list of links, you'll see guidance department. Click on us, and that's where you'll find us. Okay, college credit classes. So Currently, some of your students may actually be already enrolled in classes in school that offer college credit, but we just wanted to highlight this as a great opportunity for our kids. There are many classes in various departments throughout the building that offer a college credit option, and those are offered at a reduced tuition rate, and those college credits are issued based upon the grade that your child is getting in their class in East Islip. So many colleges will refer to it as a dual enrollment. So if you see the phrase dual enrollment, it means that the child is sitting in the class in East Islip, and then that grade gets reported to the college, and the college will put that on a transcript. But those credits do have to be purchased, so you would have to go online to register for that. The teachers for those courses would be giving out the information for you for how to register for those credits. But if you have questions about it, please give us a call. We can help you navigate that process. We have credit agreements with a few different colleges, so not every class offers credit from the same college. We work with a few different colleges. And the goal is to have students have the opportunity to transfer some credit with them when they ultimately enroll after graduation. Parent Square, I know Mr. Stanton mentioned earlier, we send out a lot of information on Parent Square. The district uses Parent Square as one of our primary ways to get in touch with you. If you don't already have the app on your phone, I would encourage you to put it on there. I do know, I get alerts on my watch that I can't figure out how to shut off, but they really are helpful. And we also encourage the students when we meet with them to put Student Square on their phones. Our seniors have been using it a lot so far as they're starting their application process. They'll just shoot us a message. It comes to us like a text, and they're able to say, you know, hey, Miss Pignataro, are you free 5th period? I need to show you my application. I'll text back, sure, I'll see you then, and they can come down. So it takes a lot of the time out of students having to try and look for us or leave us a note or have us page them over the loudspeaker. So if you can, encourage your kids at home to put Student Square on their phones as well. It's really a helpful tool.
And the groups that they can join.
Oh, yes. So there are groups that they can join as well. Mrs. Salvaggio has an open house group for college open houses. Mrs. Whiteman has a scholarship group that posts scholarship information. And then there are grade level groups. I know right now the seniors, the senior class is using a grade level group to vote for their homecoming court. So we're trying to use those groups more and more just to be able to get in touch with the kids and get in touch with parents. So if you are so inclined, please do put the app on your phone.